I am sitting in my empty apartment right now, holding a new set of keys in my hand. The old ones are in the trash, along with a lot of other things I thought were permanent. 3 years. That is how long I thought Lauren and I were building something real. Something that would last. We had plans, we had a home, we had what I believed was love. But I never thought the words "I need space" would lead to this moment. See, sometimes people do not need space to think, they need space to hide. They need space to do things they know would hurt you if you were watching. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is give them exactly what they asked for permanently. Before we dive into this story, I want to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. If you have ever been blindsided by someone you trusted completely, go ahead and hit that like button. And make sure you subscribe, because this channel is all about real stories, hard lessons, and finding your strength when life knocks you down. Now let me tell you how I Need Space turned into "You Need to Find Somewhere Else to Live." Trust me, you will want to hear how this one ends. I met Lauren 3 years ago at a coffee shop in downtown Portland. It was one of those perfect autumn mornings, the kind where the air smells like rain and roasted beans and everyone seems to be in a good mood. She was sitting by the window with her laptop covered in design stickers, sketching something on a tablet. I was waiting for my order when our eyes met, and she smiled. That smile, I swear, it lit up the whole room. We started talking, and I learned she was a graphic designer working freelance, dreaming about opening her own studio someday. I told her I was a software engineer, and she joked that we were the perfect modern couple, tech and creativity. We exchanged numbers that day, and within a week, we were inseparable. Those first 2 years felt like everything I had ever wanted. Lauren was passionate about her work, always sketching new ideas or working on client projects late into the night. I admired her drive, her talent, her fire. After a year of dating, we decided to move in together. I found a 2-bedroom apartment in the Pearl District. Nothing fancy, but nice enough, with big windows and exposed brick. The lease was in my name because my credit was better, and Lauren was still building hers up. She promised to split the rent, and for a while she did. We had our routines. Friday nights were movie nights. Saturday mornings we would cook breakfast together, these big messy pancake spreads with too much syrup and laughter. Summer weekends we would drive out to the Columbia River Gorge and hike until our legs hurt. I thought we were building a foundation brick by brick, day by day. I thought we were in this together. Then about 6 months ago, Lauren started complaining about her commute. The studio where she worked was out in Beaverton, and taking the bus was eating up nearly 2 hours of her day round trip. She would come home exhausted, frustrated, venting about how much time she was wasting. I hated seeing her stressed like that, so I started thinking about how I could help. I had been saving up for a while and my job was stable. After a lot of research, I decided to buy her a car. Nothing extravagant, just something reliable. I found a 2021 Honda Civic at a dealership, navy blue, low mileage, perfect condition. The price was reasonable, and I could afford the monthly payments of $350. The only catch was that the car had to be in my name. Lauren's credit score was not quite high enough to get approved for the loan, and honestly, I did not mind. I trusted her. I loved her. I wanted to make her life easier. The day I surprised her with the car was a Saturday morning, her birthday. I told her we were going out for brunch, but instead I drove her to the dealership. When we pulled into the lot and I pointed to the Civic with a big bow on the hood and a banner that said "Happy Birthday," she burst into tears. Good tears, the kind that made my chest swell with pride. She threw her arms around me, holding me so tight I could barely breathe, and whispered, "You are the best thing that ever happened to me, Elijah. I do not know what I would do without you." In that moment, watching her run her hands over the steering wheel, seeing the joy on her face, I felt like I had done something truly meaningful. Every monthly payment was worth it if it meant she was happy. I never imagined that car would become a symbol of everything I had been too blind to see. For the first month after she got the car, things seemed great. Lauren's commute dropped to 30 minutes, and she had more energy when she came home. But then slowly things started to shift. It was subtle at first, the kind of changes you notice but tell yourself are not a big deal. She started coming home later than usual, saying she had picked up overtime at the studio. She became more distant during dinner, scrolling through her phone with a little smile I did not recognize, laughing at messages she would not share with me. When I asked about her day, her answers got shorter, vaguer. "I am just tired," she would say. "Work has been crazy." I wanted to believe her. So I did. One night I decided to do something special to reconnect. I cooked her favorite meal, this creamy tomato pasta with fresh basil that she always loved. I set the table with candles opened, a bottle of red wine put on some soft music. When she got home, I was so hopeful. But she barely looked at the table. She grabbed a plate, ate quickly while staring at her phone, then said she was exhausted and went to bed early. I sat there alone in the kitchen, watching the candles burn down, feeling this hollow ache in my chest. Something was wrong. I could feel it, but I did not know what to do except hope it would pass. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Wednesday evening, ordinary in every way except for what happened. I was at the sink washing dishes when I heard Lauren come through the door. She did not say hello. She just walked into the living room and sat down on the couch. I dried my hands and turned around, and the look on her face told me this was not going to be a normal conversation. "We need to talk," she said, and those 4 words hit me like a punch to the gut. I walked over and sat down across from her, my heart already racing. She would not meet my eyes. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "I have been feeling overwhelmed," she said. "I need some time alone to think about what I want. I need space." Space. That word hung in the air between us like smoke. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Are we okay?" She shook her head, not in a no, but in an I do not know kind of way. "I just need to clear my head," she said. "Please do not contact me for a while. I need to figure things out on my own." "How long is a while?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I do not know," she said. "Maybe a couple of weeks, maybe longer. Just please give me this." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me, but what could I say? I nodded. "Okay," I said. "If that is what you need." She stood up, went into the bedroom, and started packing a bag. I stood in the doorway, watching her fold clothes and gather her things, feeling completely powerless. She said she was going to stay with her friend Jenna for a while. When she finished packing, she walked past me, gave me a quick, awkward hug, and said, "Thank you for understanding." Then she left. I stood alone in the apartment, listening to the sound of her car starting up and driving away, and I had no idea that I would never let her come back. The first week without Lauren was the hardest. I kept my promise. I did not call, I did not text, I did not reach out at all. Every morning I woke up and checked my phone, hoping for a message from her. Nothing. I went to work, sat at my desk, stared at my computer screen, and barely got anything done. My coworker Marcus noticed and asked if I was okay. I told him Lauren just needed some space, and he gave me this look like he wanted to say something but did not. After work, I would come home to the apartment, and the silence was unbearable. I would cook dinner for one, eat it while staring at the TV without really watching anything, then go to bed and lie awake for hours. One night I picked up my phone and typed out a message. "I miss you. I hope you are okay." My thumb hovered over the send button for a full minute before I deleted it. She asked for space. I had to respect that. I told myself I was being a good boyfriend. Looking back, I was just being convenient. It was a Friday night, 10 days after Lauren left, when everything fell apart. I could not sleep. I was lying in bed scrolling mindlessly through my phone when I opened Instagram. I was not looking for anything in particular, just trying to distract myself. Then I saw a story from Ashley, one of Lauren's friends. It was a photo of a beach, bright blue water, white sand, with a caption that said, "Beach vibes with the squad." I almost scrolled past it, but something made me look closer. In the background of the photo, I saw her, Lauren. She was standing next to a man laughing, holding a drink. My heart started pounding. I took a screenshot, zoomed in, and my stomach dropped. The man was Derek, her ex-boyfriend. I knew who Derek was because Lauren had told me about him early in our relationship. They had dated for 2 years before me, and she said they broke up because he was not ready to commit. She said it was over, that she had moved on, that I was different. Better. And now here she was on a beach somewhere with him. I checked her profile, my hands shaking. She had blocked me. I opened Facebook. Blocked there too. Panic set in. I remembered I had a second Instagram account, one I used to follow photography pages. I logged into that and searched for her name. Her profile came up public. I scrolled through her recent posts, and each one felt like a knife. There were photos of her and Derek at a poolside bar, on a boat, at a resort. In one picture, Derek had his arm around her waist as they watched the sunset. The caption on her most recent post read, "Sometimes you need to revisit the past to understand your future," with a heart emoji and a wave emoji. Derek had commented, "Best decision we ever made," with a kiss emoji. I read it over and over trying to make sense of it, but the truth was painfully clear. She was not clearing her head. She was on vacation with her ex. I could not sleep that night. I got up, opened my laptop, and started digging deeper. I know it sounds obsessive, but I needed to understand what was happening. Derek's profile was public too. I scrolled back through his posts and found one from 2 weeks ago, right after Lauren asked for space. He had checked in at Portland International Airport with the caption, "Adventure awaits," and a plane emoji. I kept scrolling. Photo after photo of him and Lauren in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Drinks by the pool. Sunset dinners. A picture of them on a boat with the ocean stretching out behind them. In one photo, you could see the edge of a resort bed in the background. I felt sick. I called Jenna, Lauren's friend, even though it was past midnight. She answered groggy and confused. "Is Lauren staying with you?" I asked. Jenna paused. "No," she said. "She told me she was going to visit her mom in Seattle." Why, I thanked her and hung up. Lauren had lied to everyone. I went back to Instagram, my chest tight, my mind racing. I found a comment on one of Derek's photos from a friend of his. "You two back together." Finally, Derek had replied, "Some things are meant to be," man, with 100 emoji. I looked at the date on Lauren's post from 5 days ago. The caption said, "When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time." Found my way back home with a red heart. Home. She called Derek home. I closed my laptop and sat in the dark, feeling completely hollow. She did not need space. She needed me out of the way. The next morning, I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee, staring at nothing. My mind was racing, piecing together the timeline. Derek had started commenting on Lauren's posts 3 months ago. She had started pulling away from me 2 months ago, right after I gave her the car. She asked for space 2 weeks ago, then immediately flew to Cabo with him. This was not a sudden decision. This was a plan. She used me. She used my apartment while she figured out if Derek was a better option. She used the car I bought her to meet up with him. She blocked me on social media so I would not find out. She lied to Jenna, probably lied to other people too. I picked up my phone and looked at the last message she had sent me. "Thank you for understanding." Understanding what? That I was a fool. That is when something inside me shifted. The hurt, the confusion, the sadness, all of it crystallized into something sharper. Clarity. I was done being the guy who got walked over. I was done being convenient. I grabbed a piece of paper and wrote down a list. Change apartment locks, sell the car, pack her stuff. I stared at the list for a long moment, then nodded to myself. She wanted space. I would give her all the space she needed. Permanently. I did not waste time. I picked up my phone and called a locksmith. The guy who answered said he could come out that afternoon. "Perfect," I said. Next, I opened Google and searched "Sell Car Fast Portland." A bunch of options came up, but CarMax seemed like the easiest. I scheduled an appointment for Monday morning. Then I walked over to the window and looked down at the parking lot. There it was, the navy blue Honda Civic sitting in her assigned spot. The car I had been paying $350 a month for. The car that was legally mine. She thought she could just keep using it while she figured out her life with Derek. Not anymore. The locksmith, a guy named Tom who looked about 50, arrived at 2 in the afternoon. He was professional. Did not ask many questions. "Landlord or tenant?" he asked as he set down his toolbox. "Tenant," I said. "But I am the only one on the lease." He nodded like he had seen this situation 100 times before. It took him about 45 minutes to remove the old deadbolt and install a new one. a heavy-duty lock that felt solid when it clicked into place. When he finished, he handed me 2 keys, one main and one spare. I looked down at the old key. Lauren had used the one with the little heart-shaped keychain I had given her last Christmas. I walked over to the trash can and dropped it in. The sound it made hitting the bottom felt final. I paid Tom $180 in cash, thanked him, and watched him leave. Then I stood in front of my door, slid the new key into the lock, and turned it. The click sounded different, like the start of something new. The next step was the car. I went to my file cabinet and pulled out all the paperwork. The title was in my name. The registration was in my name. Lauren's name was not on a single document. Legally, morally, every way that mattered, the car was mine. She had just been driving it. On Monday morning, I washed the car for the last time. As I wiped down the exterior, I found a few of her things inside: a pair of sunglasses on the dashboard, a small bottle of perfume in the center console, a cardigan on the back seat, a country music CD she loved. I pulled everything out and tossed it all into a plastic bag. Then I drove to CarMax. The sales rep, a friendly guy named Brian, took the car for a test drive and inspected it thoroughly. After about 20 minutes, he came back with an offer. Clean title, low mileage, well maintained, he said. We can offer you $22,500. I still owed the bank $19,000 on the loan. After paying that off, I would walk away with about $3,500. Deal, I said. We spent the next hour signing paperwork, transferring the title, and finalizing everything. Brian printed out a check and handed it to me. You sure about this? He asked. It is a nice car. I am sure, I said. It was never really mine to keep anyway. He looked confused but did not press. I called an Uber to take me home. On the ride back, I got an email confirmation from CarMax with all the details of the sale. I forwarded it to myself just to have a record. Let her try to explain this one, I thought. When I got back to the apartment, I started packing up Lauren's remaining belongings. There was not much left since she had taken most of her things when she said she was staying with Jenna. But there were still some winter clothes in the closet, toiletries in the bathroom, a few books on the shelf, and some framed photos of us that I could not bring myself to throw away. I packed everything neatly into 3 cardboard boxes and stacked them by the front door. Then I sat down on the couch and waited. I did not know exactly when Lauren would come back, but I knew she would. She still had stuff here. She still thought of this place as her home base. She had no idea what was waiting for her. I did not have to wait long. 3 days later, on a Thursday evening around 7:30, I was sitting on the couch reading a book when I heard it. The sound of a key trying to turn in the lock. Scraping, jiggling, frustration. Then a knock on the door. I stood up, took a deep breath, and walked over. I opened the door calmly. There she was. Lauren. Tanned her hair in a braid, standing next to a rolling suitcase. She looked at me confused. My key does not work, she said. I know, I replied, leaning against the doorframe. What, she said. Why, I changed the locks, I said evenly. She stared at me like I had just spoken a foreign language. What? Why would you do that? You asked for space, Lauren, I said. I am giving it to you. That does not mean you lock me out of our apartment, she snapped. My apartment, I corrected. You are not on the lease. Her face flushed. Are you serious right now? My stuff is in there. I turned, grabbed the 3 boxes, and placed them in front of her. Here, I said. Everything you left. She looked down at the boxes, then back at me, her confusion turning to anger. What is this? What are you doing? I am respecting your decision, I said calmly. You said you needed space to figure things out. Looks like you figured it out pretty quickly. What are you talking about? She said, playing dumb. I pulled out my phone, opened the backup Instagram account, and showed her the photos of her and Derek in Cabo. Cabo looked nice, I said. How was the weather? Her face went pale. You were stalking me, she said defensively. You posted it publicly, Lauren, I said. That is not stalking. That is just paying attention. Look, I can explain, she started. I do not need an explanation, I said. I saw everything I needed to see. She switched tactics, and tears started forming in her eyes. Elijah, please, she said. Derek and I, it is complicated. I was confused. I needed to see if there was still something there Before you, what I interrupted? Before you broke up with me properly, before you stopped using my apartment, my car. Speaking of the car, she said suddenly, her tone shifting. Where is it? I looked for it in my parking spot, but I sold it, I said. The silence that followed was deafening. What she whispered. I sold the car, I repeated. The Honda Civic. The one I bought. The one in my name. The one I have been paying $350 a month for. You had no right, she shouted. I needed that car. You seemed to manage just fine getting to the airport, I said. And around Cabo. I am sure Derek has a car. That was my car, she yelled. No, Lauren, I said firmly. It was my car. Title in my name. Registration in my name. Payments from my account. Legally, morally, every way my car. You just drove it. You cannot do this, she said desperately. I will call the police. Go ahead, I said. I have all the paperwork. Bill of sale from CarMax is dated 3 days ago. You want to explain to the police why you think you own a car you have no legal claim to. She realized she had no ground to stand on. Where am I supposed to go, she said, crying now. I do not know, Lauren, I said. Maybe Derek's place. You seem pretty comfortable there. I cannot believe you are being this cruel, she said. For the first time, I let my emotions show. Cruel, I said, my voice rising slightly. I gave you everything. A place to live. A car. My trust. My love. You took all of it and went on vacation with your ex while telling me you needed to clear your head. Do not you dare call me cruel. It was not like that, she tried to say. Then what was it like, I said. Explain it to me. Explain how I need space turned into cocktails on the beach with Derek. Explain how do not contact me for a while meant while I see if my ex is a better option. I am listening. She could not say anything. That is what I thought, I said. Your stuff is in these boxes. Take them. Leave your key. Oh wait, it does not work anymore anyway. She grabbed the boxes, struggling with them, and her suitcase, her face twisted in anger. You are going to regret this, she said. The only thing I regret, I said, is not seeing who you really were sooner. She managed to get everything to the elevator. Before the doors closed, she turned back one more time. We were good together, Elijah, she said. We could have worked through this. No, Lauren, I said. I was good to you. There is a difference. And we are done. I closed the door, locked it with my new key, and listened as the elevator descended. I heard the faint sound of the building's front door opening and closing. Then silence. I turned around and looked at my apartment. It felt emptier, but also cleaner. She walked out of my building that night, and out of my life. For good. The first few days after Lauren left were strange. The apartment felt different, quieter in a way that was not entirely unpleasant. I sat on my couch that first night, looked around at the space that was now completely mine, and realized something surprising. I was not as devastated as I thought I would be. There was sadness, sure, but underneath it was something else. Relief. For the first time in months, I did not feel like I was walking on eggshells. I did not feel anxious or confused. I felt free. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The following week, I started making small changes around the apartment. I moved furniture around, rearranged things the way I actually liked them. I bought a new chair, a comfortable reading chair I had always wanted but never got because Lauren said it would not match our aesthetic. I picked up a couple of plants from a local nursery. I called up some friends I had been neglecting and actually had real conversations with them. My coworker Marcus invited me to go hiking up Mount Hood that weekend, and for the first time in a long time I said yes. Standing at the summit looking out over the city of Portland spread out below, I felt something shift inside me. Marcus looked over and said, "You seem lighter, man." "I feel lighter," I replied, and I meant it. Turns out the space I really needed was the space she left behind. Over the next few weeks, I spent a lot of time reflecting on the relationship, trying to understand what had gone wrong and what I could learn from it. I realized there had been red flags I had ignored. The way Lauren always took but rarely gave. The way she prioritized her needs over ours. The way I was always the one compromising, always the one bending. I had confused generosity with love, but real love is not one-sided. Generosity without reciprocity is not love. It is just being used. I learned that when someone says I need space, it can mean a lot of things, but sometimes it just means I need to see if I have better options without you watching. People who truly love you do not ask you to wait in the dark while they explore other possibilities. They work through problems with you, not away from you. I also learned some practical lessons. Protect your assets, protect your heart. I would never again put something valuable in someone else's hands, unless the relationship was truly committed, legally recognized, built on mutual trust that had been earned over time. Trust is not something you give freely. It is something people earn. And finally, I learned that self-respect is not petty. It is necessary. What I did, changing the lock, selling the car, it was not about revenge. It was about protecting myself. It was about setting boundaries. It was about saying, I will not be disrespected. I will not be used. I will not wait around for someone who has already chosen someone else. I did not lose Lauren. I lost the illusion of who I thought she was. And that is not a loss. That is a gift. 2 months after everything happened, my life looked completely different. I got promoted at work to senior engineer, a position I had been working towards for years. I joined a running club and started meeting new people. People who shared my interests and values. I took a solo trip to Seattle, spent a weekend exploring the city, eating good food, and enjoying my own company. I taught myself how to cook new dishes, experimenting with recipes I found online. I even repainted the living room wall a deep blue I had always liked. One afternoon, I was driving through town and passed by a Honda dealership. I saw a navy blue Civic in the lot, and for a second I thought about the car I had sold. But I did not feel sad. I just smiled and kept driving. I hope whoever bought it treats it better than she treated me, I thought. Friends started asking if I was ready to start dating again. Maybe eventually, I told them. But right now I am good with just me, and I really was. For the first time in years, I was not waiting for someone else to complete me. I was not looking for external validation. I was complete on my own. I heard through a mutual friend that Lauren and Derek broke up after about 3 months. Apparently, Derek still was not ready to commit. Surprise, surprise. The friend mentioned that Lauren had tried to reach out to me through a number I did not recognize, leaving voicemails asking if we could talk. I blocked the number without listening to the messages. I did not need to hear what she had to say. That chapter was closed. Now, sitting here in my apartment holding these new keys, looking around at a space that is entirely mine, I feel at peace. There is no trace of Lauren left. No photos on the walls, no clothes in the closet, no lingering perfume in the air. This is my space, truly mine, and I have learned something valuable through all of this. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is give them exactly what they ask for, even if it is not what they expected. Lauren asked for space. I gave her space. Permanent, indefinite, absolute space. She wanted freedom. I freed her from my life. I did not beg, I did not chase, I did not try to convince her to stay, because here is the truth I finally understand. Loving someone does not mean letting them walk all over you. Self-respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. You cannot build a future with someone who is still living in their past. And true strength is not holding on. True strength is knowing when to let go. She wanted space. I gave her all the space in the world. And in doing so, I found the space I needed to breathe again. Sometimes the end of something is just the beginning of finding yourself. So let me ask you, have you ever had to make a tough decision to protect your own self-respect? Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved? Because staying would have meant losing yourself. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your stories. If this resonated with you, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more real-life stories about finding strength in tough situations. And share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that you deserve respect, honesty, and real love. Not games, not lies, not being someone's backup plan. Take care of yourselves out there. And remember, sometimes the best thing you can give someone is the space they asked for. And sometimes the best thing you can give yourself is the courage to move forward.